Thank you so much, Madam President, we're really honored and privileged to meet you. I'm always delighted to meet women leading positions, not just in government, but in business. And I'd like to invite you perhaps in July. I'm hosting for the 35th year the Global Summit of Women, and we'll send you an invitation. And usually we are about 1,000 women. It's called the Davos for Women, but we bring in women leaders as well. Just a few words from our side of the world. I've heard a lot of discussion on the reform of the United Nations, and in 2004, when I chaired the Security Council, it was very difficult for us to convince the Security Council on the agenda that we would like to have. But I realized that with the help of a small group of nations from our side of the world, ASEAN, I was able to push through my agenda, which was the role of civil society in post-conflict peace building. It was not easy because the big power said civil society does not have a role in the Security Council. So I used the Security Council Decision 1325, which highlighted the role of women in peace and security. And I lobbied women leaders around the world. And at that time, there were 14, so I got my agenda in. So it was just a majority of 14. But I suppose the 14 were a magic 14, so I got my agenda in. And a result of that UN Security Council session, we were able to build up a global movement for women in peace and security, which I thought women should be seriously included in the discussions on peace and security. We just inaugurated in the Philippines the Asian Center for Women in Peace and Security. And we just nominated, and she got accepted as the first woman consultant for peace negotiations in the United Nations, which is a Filipino lady. Anyway, talking about small states, I'm always proud to speak of the ASEAN group of 10 small countries. We are very diverse, as you can imagine, as I said yesterday. You cannot have a more diverse community of 10 countries as ASEAN. But what was the magic of ASEAN? We looked for commonalities. We do not have a Brussels. We remain an intergovernmental organization. But when we're 57 years old now, but we listening to discussions on especially issues in the Balkan region and South America and Africa as well, where we have developed dialogue relationships. We always come up with what we believe has kept us going for the past 57 years, is looking for commonalities. And they said, what is the biggest commonality in ASEAN? We all eat rice. We all eat rice 3 times a day. And perhaps if you know the symbol of ASEAN, it's a group, it's rice stalks, 10 rice stalks that is put together, and that is a symbol of who we are. We are individual nations, but yet we work together. And the sort of, our aim is to look for commonalities that bind us, the ties that bind us. Certainly there are major bilateral issues, but I don't know if it's culture or if it is an attitude towards being able to do what we wish to do as a group of nations. I think for the past 57 years, we have avoided any serious clashes. If you think that most of the half of the countries are what you call continental ASEAN, and the others are maritime. So there are already big differences. There are border issues, but we sort of agree to disagree on some issues, but it should not take everyone to a situation where we would split up, but still help each other. We do have a major issue at the moment, which is Myanmar, because of a very strong military dictatorship. But we try not to make the situation go beyond what it should go, but to have everybody help and try to put in their 2 cents worth to sort of help, not to explode the issue, but to look for common solutions that will help the situation. I think this is basically what I've been dealing with in ASEAN. I was there since the beginning of ASEAN. And we try to identify commonalities and the universality of human values. And I think this is very important when you get people together and feel that there are universal values of human beings that have to be respected. And perhaps it is what the tie that has bound us. We do respect a lot the workings of the United Nations, and we certainly are a respectable and a responsible member. But what is important in ASEAN is that we behave as individual nations and yet bound by common values. We have decided not to create a Brussels that will decide things for us, but I remember when I coordinated ASEAN-EU relations, I was asked what's the difference, and I said, well, we learn from the mistakes of the European Union. So we look at what we think we can avoid, and perhaps that's the value of coming in later. But the most important element, I think, is for us, we're 700 million now, is to look for issues, to look for cultural and meaningful values, human values that keep us together. And we chair the ASEAN next year, and I don't know if I'm going to introduce a roundtable on cultural diplomacy as well, to take us to a wider level to engage other countries in Europe. So, being the lone voice in Asia, I suppose I thought I should speak a little bit on who we are, what we do, but more importantly, I think I'm very delighted and honored to say a woman president, because I'm part of the team that initiated the first draft of the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. And since then, I've been working on gender issues. And I recently wrote to Secretary Gutierrez. I said, you know, your negotiating table does not have a woman in it. How come? And if you look at photographs of negotiating tables, there are no women. And we're trying very hard to, I have nominated Ban Ki-moon one time in the Global Summit of Women to be the Woman of the Year, because he was the only Secretary General who put in UN Women. And up to today, he likes to be called Woman of the Year. So perhaps that's one way to do it, to have more women in terms of decision-making levels, not just in government, but in civil society as well. So thank you very much. Again, I'm delighted, and I'm here also to share our happiness with the Center for Mother Teresa. As you know, we awarded her in 1962, before she was awarded the Nobel Prize, in the same way that we awarded the Dalai Lama in 1959, before he was given the Nobel Prize, believing in the universality of the human being. Thank you.